Good at that.
All right, here we go. I'm doing it. Hey, welcome to the Ryan Got the Bread podcast, where I have my nearest and dearest friends know that's the Joe Budden podcast again. I have Jessica Gaddy with me co-hosting, and I have Drew Thompson and Tiffany Hyde, both loan officers in the local area in South Jersey, and we're talking about how they got into it, and, you know, COVID and how that's affecting the market, and probably some first-time homebuyer advice. So let's get into it. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I want to go to Mexico.
I thought you were going. Aren't you going this month?
If I can close all of my deals, I'll go.
Oh, okay. So no.
No, because nothing closes because COVID has
Facts, exactly. Everything is delayed.
So
I'm actually pretty tired. I'm sleepy, but I'm here.
You are?
Yeah.
You're not an hour late today, so that's good.
Oh, he loves putting me on blast every podcast. Right?
So I think in this podcast, if you're listening, you will learn a lot about loans today because we have two loan officers. I guess how I want to start is Drew and Tiff. Like, tell me your origin story. How did you end up becoming a loan officer? You know, what did you do first? Where'd you go to school? Blah, 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 all that stuff.
Ladies first.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say it if you wasn't.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
No, I went to King University, business management major, first job.
Why?
I wanted to own my own business. Everybody does. Everybody says that. But I really did. I want to own my own business. Never wanted to work for somebody for the rest of my life. So first job out of college, Freedom Mortgage hired me as a loan processor. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was there for legit 4 months and then got laid off. The rates had went up. It was one of those, first in, last out situations. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then my second job, what did I do my second job? I was selling. I was still selling. I was selling blinds.
What?
I was selling custom-made blinds. I haven't
Where?
heard this story before.
I had at Blinds to Go.
Really?
Yeah, I was there for a year. Then I was like, this retail is not for me. I want to go back to an office. I have weekends off. And then I went to Semlar. So I was now in customer service of mortgage loans.
Talk about that stress.
Yeah, that was rough.
So you started at Freedom Mortgage.
Started at Freedom.
Where was it intentional that you went there into the mortgage industry? Or
I had no knowledge. My parents, house mortgage, that's all I knew.
Right.
And it was a job. I was like, oh.
So you were just perusing through Indeed, and then it was like, okay, they're hiring.
No, the crazy thing, I was going on an interview at Chipotle, okay?
What?
And then, listen, out of college, I was like, all right, I've been
Right.
off for a while. I need a job.
Okay.
And then a girl I knew in high school was working at Freedom, and I saw her there at the interview. She was like, yeah, girl, we making $35K or something like that.
And at that time,
yes, that was
a lot
nice.
for
I was
us,
like,
yeah.
my parents was like, oh, wow, that's good. So I was like, okay, let me apply. Applied and got it, and that's how I got into the industry. And like I said, I was a customer service rep, and then I left there, and Freedom called me to come back. I said, oh, okay, for the flyer program to sell.
Oh, they actually called you.
Yes.
Okay.
They called me.
But out of the
Hot
blind, you didn't
commodities.
apply?
Yeah, Indeed and what is the other ones?
They have all your stuff.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Monster. They got all your
Glassdoor.
information. So, yeah, they called me, and I said, sure, make a little bit more money. Why not start selling? And that's how I got
And
into
what
it.
was your initial thought when it came to sales? Because me and you had that conversation too.
Yeah, I didn't want to sell.
Right.
Who wants to sell? Nobody really.
Yeah, what
wants
was
to
your
sell.
perception of sales? Because that was always my big hang up is
Right.
the sales culture where you gotta be
Right.
Wolf of Wall Street or whatever.
Right. So I didn't know what to expect. I know this possibility to make money, but I didn't want to sell. So I was just like, all right, we're here. Me and Jessica would be like, all right, let's coast on this base that they got us in for right now.
That was it. That was our only goal at that time.
We didn't want to get on the phones.
Right.
We was like, yeah, we'll do the 45K was great. We don't want to jump on the phones.
Yeah, they sold us on that 45K because I remember getting that call, and I know they had other tracks going at that time. I think underwriting and analytics,
Something like
but they weren't really pressed for that. It was just mainly sales.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, let me just try to go in there, finagle and maybe try to go to another department or whatever. But that was my main goal. Coasting to $45,000 for a year
Same.
through the first flyer program and go from there.
Were you worried about, okay, so for the people that don't know, we all worked at the same mortgage company.
The background. Sorry, I keep forgetting about
We
that.
were
Yes.
all loan officers at the same mortgage company, so we all have a similar background and different experiences there.
Yeah.
But everybody was a licensed loan officer there at some point. But
I still am.
I
A little bit. I have a couple licenses still active right now.
Yeah, mine are not active. But I was hesitant because first the sales thing. I don't like the sales culture, like how people think sales is. And then secondly, I have an issue with like the call center. Like
Right.
that sounds like hell.
Right.
So
The adherence schedule.
like, were you worried about being in a call center? Did you even know?
I was in a call center in a job before as
Oh,
a
okay.
CSR, so I knew the environment was going to be, but honestly, I didn't know how long I was going to be there. I had
Right.
no long-term
It's just a
goals.
job.
Yeah, I
Correct.
want to see what this is like. If I can make money, cool.
Did they tell
If
you
not,
you were going to
Expectations were
make?
very low. at
Very
that
low.
time.
Did they tell you were going to make $150,000
Of
a
course.
year?
He always goes on about that, how they sold us.
But we didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I'm going to say that.
Nope.
I
But it was doable. It was happening.
It was. That's the crazy thing
They
about
fooled
it.
us because
It
I'm like, oh,
was.
okay. Yeah, they were making money.
Yeah.
So Drew, what's your deal? How'd you get in this world?
How'd I get in this world?
Yeah.
Alva Thompson. She's a wonderful lady. No, I was in sales for a while. I used to be a store manager for AT&T back in the day for a while. And I kind of got out of sales, I want to say a few years before I got into the mortgage industry. One of my customers at AT&T gave me an opportunity to run a sugar warehouse out in Fairless Hills. So I did that for a couple of years. Got into a difference of opinion with, the owners and everything like that, and kind of gracefully bowed out. It was kind of fate at the time because my father had fell sick. And he needed somebody to take him to his appointments 3 times a week. He was on dialysis, stuff like that. So I'm a musician as well. So I primarily was doing music for for a year just because I could do that at night and then take care of him during the day and stuff like that. So that was, more so my primary focus. And then after he passed, I was kind of like, all right, well, I need to do something else right now. I thought about doing real estate before I got out of sales and becoming a real estate agent, did some research. And I found a class that they were doing at Camden County to become a loan officer, and the state was paying for it. I was like, why not?
Interesting.
So did the class, got all the education and everything like that. And the guy that was an instructor of the class, he was one of the partners at Tam Lunding, and they were doing a career day or a career job fair, and Freedom Mortgage was there. Interview,
Of course.
yeah, of course. Interview with them on the spot, and the guy, I forget what the guy's name was that interviewed me. They called me back a couple of days. They were like, "Hey, you want to give us a go? You want to sign on?" I was a part of the fast track program, so it wasn't more so you got to come out, straight out of college. It was more so people that had been in the workforce that were looking to make a career change and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's kind of perfect. So again, logged on with Freedom. I talked to the guy, that had ran our class, and he was like, it's kind of a good place to get started in the industry because you get your feet wet a little bit as far as learning more of the back end side of the mortgage industry, and you're not scrambling trying to self-source yourself and make partnerships in real estate right off the bat. So
Yeah, so if people don't know, there's 2 ways to be a loan officer, basically. Like, there's the call center people, like that's like Freedom Mortgage, Rocket Mortgage, like where you just, or if you work for Wells Fargo sometimes, you just receive calls or you make phone calls out. And then there's like the outside people who just have their license with a brokerage, and then it's up to them to really find their own business. So I think there's a big difference between those 2 things.
huge.
My other thing was like, what drove you, like, what was it intentional to get into the mortgage industry, or did you just kind of find the opportunity and just went with it?
Well, like I said, I was looking to get into real estate in general,
Right.
and just doing the research between the 2, again, either being a real estate agent or being a loan officer.
Why'd you
Like,
pick loan officer over being
Yeah, that was
an
going to be my
agent?
question, too.
People got to get the money before they get the house. So they've got to
Facts.
find the financing somewhere. So
This is fact.
Um, So I figured I'm like, let me try this side of things. It's not like if I get my license, I can't go and get my real estate license later down the road. So I took a swing, and again, it's been fulfilling. I am wholeheartedly I like to help people, and a lot of what I learned initially when I got into sales in the industry was more so finding that the more you help people, the better off you are in a sales position, and in the mortgage industry, and selling blinds and everything else like that. So it was a more so for me. It was something that I saw as a career that could be fulfilling for me.
Do you guys consider yourselves salespeople?
No, not at all.
Good question.
Tiff,
That is a good question.
would you say I'm a salesperson?
I feel like all of our jobs are salespeople, but it's not the traditional sales what people think of a salesperson.
That's how I feel about it. When I show houses to clients, I say, look, I'm not here to convince you to like the house or not. I'm here to facilitate the transaction, and, I'm going to help guide you through and negotiate on your behalf. I'm going to point out the deficiencies of the property that I notice, and I'm going to give you my best advice. It's your job to decide if that house is right for you, because I don't know if you like the paint or the layout of the house. That's up to you to know. You know you better than you know you, than better than I would know.
Right.
So that's kind of my attitude, which I think actually that is sales, but it's not the traditional idea of sales, because when I first got involved, they're like, this is a sales job, blah, 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 and you got to convince people, and it feels dirty to me, So that's why I think everybody kind of has a thing about saying it's sales, but
yeah, that's how I felt when I first started at Freedom. I felt like they were more sort of pushing you to be a salesperson at the call center environment, because it was like, no, you gotta, nah.
That's not even a part of my personality.
Nah, that's
I'm
not
so
who I am.
here are the pros, here are the cons. Well, no cons, but here are the pros. If you don't like it, that's on you next.
Right.
I'm not beat for doing
I'm
all
not
that.
arguing with a borrower.
Absolutely not.
Trying to convince them when they're telling me no 5-6 times.
Absolutely not.
I
Goodbye.
get 2 no's, I say, okay.
Yeah.
You don't want it.
On to the next one.
We're getting your money anyway, so.
So, and that was always my downfall with my managers. Jess, you could be getting even more loans if you just, no.
well, there's so many sales classes that are like overcoming objections,
Yeah.
and then you're supposed to say this.
Right.
But it's funny when they, Jess, this, when they call me and I start detecting that they're using those tactics, I get so
terrible, y'all.
angry. I hate them.
He loves calling people out when they're doing it. He knows.
And I'm gonna destroy you.
He's one of those. He played a game.
Oh, man.
Had to waste their time.
Ooh, if I got time, I am gonna make them have a bad day. I'm gonna
real.
say the most annoying things the whole time. Like, yo, I know you heard this in a class. You're trying to get me to say yes 3 times, and then you're gonna come on, that stuff is garbage.
But that's the thing. You can detect if somebody's trying to sell you or
Correct.
if they're being genuine. I prefer to be
Absolutely.
genuine.
And that has worked for us.
Exactly.
It's always worked for us.
They
That was our
trust
strong
you.
suit. Absolutely.
You're not trying to sell me.
Absolutely.
You're just giving me information.
I'm a family member. They're super
Exactly.
close with me and all that stuff. So that has been working.
What do you guys think about being black in the industry? Because there's no black people in loans, in real estate.
Finance
Our
in general.
office is very small.
Yes. Yes.
I'll let you go first.
Do you feel extra responsibility at all?
Do I feel extra responsibility?
I don't know.
As far as what?
I mean, 2 different ways. When you're talking to black people, do you feel a little extra push to try to help them out?
Yes and no. Honestly, it depends on, how they receive me. I can get somebody on the phone. It's definitely easier to kind of connect, when they're open to it. But you get sometimes you get those black people who are closed. And it's harder.
They give you a harder time.
Yeah, they do. I feel like they might
Right.
give you a harder time, trying to hear you out. Just hear me out.
Right.
You feel me? If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. And I'm going to talk to you. I'm not going to sit there, like I said, I'm not going to sell you. I'm not going to give you these lines. I'm like, all right, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. I understand.
That's
But
real.
I want to know why don't you want to do it. Tell me why. Help me understand
And they never
why.
have a good reason when you
Right.
ask them why.
I'm
Well,
not,
that's
I
one
just
of
don't
my
want to.
things. One of my things is that, actually in the sales, some of these, generational curses, I hear it coming out of people's
Oh, yes.
mouths. With
Yes, let's
the
touch on
fear
that.
of credit is a big one. Like, our experience with credit is like super negative. Like, people think having a credit card's bad or having debt or even a mortgage is bad. And it's like, this is reverse as to how society works. Is like,
Information.
real estate is one of the best things to come up, because you can borrow 96.5% of an asset worth $300,000.
Correct.
You can't control an asset worth $300,000 in any other industry. You know, you need more money to be able to do it. You can go to the bank and get money to buy something worth $300,000, but they're like, you don't own it and stuff like that. And I know where it's coming from. So like, that's why we're doing this. Like, a lot of this is to, you know, provide that information in a way that people can understand and like relate to, you know, because the information's out there. It's just that we're not getting the information.
Yeah, as a kid, I was told not to ever get a credit card. Don't get a credit card.
Yeah.
My parents. The same
Yes,
way.
they tried their best, but they definitely set me up for failure. You know, it wasn't until like my mid-20s I started caring about my credit. I'm like, wait a minute.
And you know, that's obviously, if you get a credit card and you run it up, like, it's not a good thing to do.
yeah.
But there's ways to use debt to your advantage.
Correct.
You need
Correct.
credit to build your credit score.
You have to start
You have
somewhere.
to get a credit
Absolutely.
card. Like,
Yeah, so then by the time you want to buy a house, now you're behind. It's going to take
Correct.
you 2 years to establish your credit.
Yep.
And these are things that affect your whole life. Like, okay, now you got to wait 2 years to buy a house as you're 2 years older. And then your credit isn't even that good. So now you're paying higher interest on a house. You're paying more than the average person would have paid just because you don't have the greatest credit. And so, like, those things over, you know, however many
trickle
million
effect.
people, you know, we're paying extra in interest. We're not able to own properties, and that's like a really big problem, you know?
It's huge, and I think the worst thing about it, like, I do credit repair, so people come to me all the time because they got credit cards and everything like that, and they weren't taught how to manage them. It was like, oh, well, I got this credit card, I pay on it every month, but it's over its limit. You can't do that, you know. No, they just don't realize, again, the ramification behind it. You know, one late payment on your credit can affect your score up to 192 points. Like, can drop your score like that. So, you know, the things that people don't know, they just don't know. And it's more so, again, in our community, like you were saying, my parents never told me to get a credit card.
Absolutely.
You know, they never tell me to, this is how you manage it. They never showed me how to balance a book or anything like that. So I think it's more so the education, kind of like what you were saying, you know, just being a black loan officer and everything like that. It's a lot of responsibility, I think, that's put on our shoulders, because you've got the outside looking at you like you shouldn't be here. And then you have other black people looking at you like, well, you don't know as much as the other guy.
Yes.
Or distrustful.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go to this guy because, you know, he's white, or
He's white, so he's right.
He's right, you know.
It is what it is.
And,
That's what-
you know, then they come back 2 months later, oh, well, I had this and that, and they took advantage of me. And I'm not going to cook you up and eat you. I'm here to help you, you know, at the end of the day, you know. So a lot of times, you know, when you get those objections and everything like that, I more so just say, what led you to think that having a mortgage was bad?
Mm-hmm.
What put a bad taste in your mouth to make you think that having a credit card was wrong?
And it's hard to deprogram that in our conversation.
Yeah.
You know, that's 30 years of everyone around you
whole
with
family.
that ideology is very difficult to break. But I think that
But those are the same people that's telling you to get a new car with spinners and all of that carried on.
Yeah,
Like,
you
you
know.
know, let's stunt.
don't get me started.
I want to get you started. I know that's going to press your button. Let's go.
Oh, shoot. I'm trying not to. No, because, like, I don't know. Like, I want to also try to stay positive with some of this stuff, because things are getting a lot better. And I think, actually, that's why I defend social media so much. Like, because there's all this talk about, like, social media is bad, blah, blah, blah. But it is democratized information. Like, we're able to do this. And, you know, I might not have 1 million views, but even if 100 people, like, hear this conversation, it might affect a few
Right.
people to think a little bit differently. And, you know, like, my YouTube channel, a lot of people actually contact me and will ask me questions. You know, I had a couple people ask me about, like, investing in Camden, New Jersey, and most of these people are black, like, or from Camden and stuff like that. I've worked with a couple people who, you know, have heard my content, and I've really taken an effort to help them, even though it's a struggle, because some of that a lot of people mean well, but I hear some when there's objections, it's like a lot of the toxic, negative financial information that is in the community. But it's hard. It's weird because like you got to understand. Like I know where it comes from, so I'm empathetic to it. But at the same time, it is freaking annoying and frustrating. It's like no,
I just want to do my job. Let's go.
Yeah, you really got to have patience, man, because it's almost like courting somebody. You gotta put that seed.
I don't know nothing about courting nobody.
That's another conversation for another day.
Another time. Another time. But it's kind of like you got to follow up on the situation. It's got to have that reinforcement. I think again, social media is doing a great job of putting the information out there. And this podcast is a great example of people that are putting it out there. So there's people that are being aware now. It's just we have to bring everybody else along and say, hey, this is here for us. We have the opportunities, we have the space for it. There's the information's out there. Come and get it.
And that's why, like, if you follow me on Facebook, I'm the worst. But I post the real numbers. Like, I'll post like checks that we got. I'll post like my stock account because I'm just like, yo, this is real stuff. Like, this actually can happen if you follow some of these concepts. And try and make it real for people. Same thing here. So another question I have for you guys that I think is helpful to everybody is like, when are you aware of your blackness in these mostly white spaces? Because probably not that many black people in the office. How does that make you feel?
I'll speak. It's definitely felt when I was in a call center. I think once I came off of like the flyer program and jumped onto the sales floor, they picked me, which was weird because Jessica passed the test. We both passed on our first try, so we were hyped. We were like the only two black girls in the class. So we were.
We're not gonna go into why they didn't pick me first. I already told you that, but that's off air.
But for whatever reason, they picked Jessica. So I'm like the only black person, not even
at that
like
time,
the only female, whatever. In that class, I got transitioned over, so I'm with all these white people. Like, can't really relate to certain stuff. And then even on my teams, I may have had one or two black people there. I was mostly always the only black person on my team. And it was felt. They try to include me and whatnot, but I'm naturally quiet. I'm a chill, laid-back person. Right. So if I can't really relate to the conversation, I'm not going to join into the conversation.
So they think you're standoffish all of a sudden.
I guess, I could be looked at as standoffish.
Did they come and say, oh, I love your hair, and touch it?
Nobody's doing, no, we're not playing those games.
I will say this, yes, every time I had my hair done differently, whatever, yes, I did get compliments on it, but nobody touched it. No, they weren't that bold.
Pull back a no.
Do not put your fingers through my hair.
But it was felt. Like, it would be certain conversation I'd be going on, and I'd be like, what are y'all talking about? And I just, I just kept to myself.
How about during the election?
I'm inclined to agree with Tiff as far as your experience. Obviously, we used to talk about this every day. But same thing. I was like one of the top producers when we were in like the incubator. So I was now transferred over to the top producing team at the time. So with that, I was probably like, was I the only black person on Scarpa's team?
I think it was like one more person.
Maybe one other.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So even with that, I felt like I just needed to do a lot better. Like I had to push myself more just to stand out, because they could kind of be like subpar and I have to go like above and beyond,
right.
just to be equal.
Right.
So,
and that wasn't my mentality, but just how I work my work ethic, I was top performer as well. So you definitely, you shine even more.
Because they were sleeping on me at first. They slept on me. When I first got in the incubator, and then I was just killing everybody. They're like, oh, Gaddy.
Because just didn't talk. Like, literally.
I'm quiet. I'm reserved. Everybody knows that.
I mean, so am I, but it would be like training, and they want you to talk. Jessica be in the back just
for what?
Mute.
For
and
what?
And they know. Jessica knew that. Just say one thing. Just like, I'm not saying nothing.
Because why are we like in a classroom setting? Like I graduated college years ago. I'm not. What is this? Just get me on the floor. Let me do what I need to do. Can I get my money?
Right.
That's
so
it.
I can see why they slept on you. You ain't say nothing, but
they didn't know what to expect.
Right. And she killed it.
Passed the test on the first go. We were the only two black. Yeah, the only two black people that passed on the first go.
Yep.
Yeah. So, don't sleep on the quiet ones.
Sure.
Period.
Don't.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Drew?
So I'll take it from a different perspective because, again, I'm an outside guy. I'm not in the call center environment.
Right.
So especially when I was first starting to build, my book of business and everything like that, it was crazy going to networking events and people not wanting to speak to me.
Oh.
Yeah, you feel that?
Walking,
you feel like they really didn't want to talk to you?
They just, I'd walk in, introduce myself. I always made it a point to I'd have to extra dress up, make sure I looked extra nice, make sure I was extra friendly and everything like that. And not to the point that I was fake or anything like that. I was always genuine. But just going into those spaces where
trying to get respected. I'm a pro here.
Not even so much just respected, but it was just like to sit in a conversation with a circle of people. You ever been in a conversation with somebody or sitting with a group of people and you feel like that shoulder is just like nudging you out? And I'm a big guy. Like, you try to nudge me out, I'm going to feel it. So like, but just dealing with like, the last company I worked for, I was partnered with another guy. We were trying to, build the branch up and everything like that. And we'd go out to networking events. I'd be out there talking to people. I was personable. He was real quiet and reserved. Really didn't talk to anybody. But they would send him their business. Now, I was out in, Pennsylvania. Again, my office right now is actually in Pennsylvania. So I was in a space that really wasn't a ton of black people. There might have been one other black guy at the networking events and stuff like that. But they were, who are you talking to? Oh, do you remember the girl from the networking event the other day? Yeah. She got to set me a couple deals. But she talked to you for 5 minutes, and
right.
So it's you can see, and again, it's not like the information wasn't there, or like I was slouching or slacking on what I was providing. The other guy was asking me for information on how to do certain looks. He was newer in the industry and everything like that. Right. So it was.
I do think so. My attitude towards this has been. Obviously, we're not going to change how things are. Basically,
not at all.
You're not going to change anybody's mind. But so you have to dive into your strengths, because when I first started, as an agent, I was mostly working with and it's not just white people. Like it was like people that have a different cultural ideology than me, and so. You have to put on this whole HGTV thing and be dressed up and be like, oh, this is that and that, all that stuff. And that was the first phase of me, because that's what I thought you're supposed to do anyway. Because that's normal, right? That's the mainstream and it goes that direction. But what I realized, later down the road and what I've really embraced is just go with the people that fuck with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not all black people. It's just a certain I'm not gonna get dressed up. If you want somebody who wears a suit, then I'm not the guy that you want. If you think
that clear,
if you think the guy wearing a suit is better just because he's wearing a suit, I actually don't want to talk to you because that means that you don't get it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how you're dressed if you know what you're talking about. But someone in a suit is trying to convince you that they know what they're talking about without saying anything. So, so all these things are all mixed together, how you dress, how you present it, your race, your culture. And so what I feel is just go deep into what you are, and I that's been, and it also maybe you make less money. Me and Jess talk about this, maybe our networks are not all the rich people, but it's much more fulfilling to work and comfortable and I'm a happier person working with people that I can play whatever music in the car I want to play to and not worry about them judging me.
It doesn't feel like work when you're working with people like that, you know? So.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
You good?
Go ahead.
To you. So I get exactly what you're saying. I can understand that the person with the suit, versus the person who's casually dressed and maybe more knowledgeable. Okay, so if you're not going to, necessarily put on the suit, so how do you get get people's attention? There's two options. What's gonna
social media?
Okay.
Because so
credibility.
This is what so when I talk about stocks online, I post what I think is going to happen, and then I post the result. Okay. And if I'm freaking right, I'm right. So it don't matter what I look like. It don't matter how I said it. I'm right. And if you fuck with what's right and somebody that knows what they're talking about, then I got your attention. Now, if you're upset in my communication style, huh?
I knew Kyle was about to say something. I was looking at him. I'm like, what are you about to say?
If you don't like my communication style and all that, and I get it, but I am what I am, and I'm gonna be. So okay, I watched this TED Talk about Malcolm Gladwell, and it still impacts me to this day. And Malcolm Gladwell was talking about he got commissioned by like some company that makes pasta sauce, pasta sauce in the supermarket, whatever. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, they would just have one pasta sauce, and they said, find out what the best pasta sauce is. Like, how sweet should it be? How thick should it be? Should it have tomatoes? What should it have in it? And he kept getting, like, scattered results every time he would do the test. And he actually couldn't figure it out. Like, it was years later, and it dawned on him that there is no perfect pasta sauce. There are only perfect pasta sauces. And what that means is when he broke them down into extra chunky, and then had 3 options as extra chunky, one of them was way higher. Like, so people would like it at 80% versus the generic one would only be at like 60% of people, because the people that like extra chunky sauce really like it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so if you have meaty sauce, people like that. Right. And so if you're trying to give somebody something super generic, most people don't like it. Mm-hmm. That's why you see craft beer now, like everything is specialized. Yeah. And so I think that just go into hard on what people fuck with about you.
I like that. Okay.
And I really believe that. And it has the consequence of you're happier because you're being yourself. You're not having to adjust your personality or character. Like if you like Jess likes to get dressed up. So like that works for her anyway.
That's just me.
It's not, she's not doing.
I've been getting fly for days. Right. What you mean? Since a baby. I'm going to be fly.
But she's not doing that to impress them, to sell to them, and get them to do business with her. She's doing that because she likes to do that.
Right.
And so that's way different than putting on a suit because you think you have to.
And that was, I think that was a learning curve for me because, like I said, I used to dress up because, one, I get on a black guy. I'm a big guy. So
there's a lot of pressure against all this stuff. Like,
I'm like,
because look, regardless, this is the thing that, any white listeners, if they haven't already left, is that we are conscious of all these things at the same time. I call it blackanoia, where when you go in a store, you're aware, like you're a big guy and you're darker skinned than I am. So you're like, I might be frightening to people. And, you don't have to act on it, but that is in your head. Like, that that's something that's happening. Mm-hmm. And I feel like people don't understand, non-minorities don't understand that it's a double consciousness. I'm aware of how you're perceiving me, and I'm also aware of myself and how I feel.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. Right. That's the problem is in corporate America, you have to second guess do you feel like you were treated unfairly because of your skin color, or was it because you were quiet? Right. There's no way to ever know the answer to that question, and because the answer is probably a certain percentage of both.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And so we'll never know why, we didn't get promoted or why they didn't work with us. And I think that is that's blackanoia. Like, so that, and people complain, why are black people arguing about racism all the time? It's because I don't know if I'm being treated fairly. So it's hard to be in those spaces where you don't know if you're being treated fairly.
Mm-hmm. Until you get that 1% that it's like, hey man, they really doing you dirty because they don't want to do business.
But most people aren't going to ever say that to your face. Like, so you never know.
It's a lot harder. You can say, you can feel it, and you can ask them, and nobody's going to say,
Never.
Until now, which is why now is an interesting time, because now people might just say, yeah, I don't like black people. And,
True.
They are kind of bold. They're bold. Fire people.
I would prefer it.
Yeah.
Listen, exactly.
Let's get this over with. Tell me right up front.
So I can know what I'm dealing with.
My clients don't like, black
all right.
financial
I'll talk
advisors.
to the
I don't
next
want to deal
Keep it
with
moving.
exactly.
Right.
Cool. Great.
Now I don't have to try to convince you. I'm fine. Like, it is what it is.
Still call me if you need advice, but I'm not going to press myself over.
Nah, don't
Exactly.
call me. Don't call me. I'm good.
But
Any racist experiences? Because I know Ryan had that. I don't know if you guys saw that video he put out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that text message?
yeah.
Anyone else had any racist experiences like that?
Not to that degree.
I didn't see it. What happened?
Oh God, go over what happened, Ryan, with the
so
racist.
on my YouTube and on Facebook, I posted a video. So I was leasing a property that I had just done a home ready program on, where I rehabbed the house, fixed it up, and put it up for rent. I had it on Facebook Marketplace because I don't want to pay real estate commission on a rental. That doesn't make any sense. So the lady hit me up on Facebook Marketplace. And I said, yeah, I'm not showing it anymore because I had like 20 people interested in it, and I was done with it. And actually, so I changed it to pending. So like, I don't even know why she was messaging me. And then she, what the heck she say? Well, basically she called me a nigger and I'm never going to be anything in life and all this stuff. And I think she said it because, first of all, she had like a fake phone number attached to it, and it's on Facebook Marketplace, so it's kind of anonymous or whatever. And so, that's what she said. But my take on it was that that's the better kind of racism because, first of all, she's trying to rent from me.
Exactly.
It's not. You're not stopping me from. You ain't stopping me from doing nothing. Like it's not like I need somewhere to live and you're preventing me. That's different. Right. That's the stuff we need to eliminate. Her being mad, that's her problem. Like, so I try not to internalize that, and that was kind of my take on it. But I'm sure you guys have, you guys were talking about some of your phone calls, especially during the election. People, especially this election with Trump, everybody want to be bold and say some crazy stuff. So
I don't have any like crazy off the wall stories
to that degree.
No, yeah, like
that's good.
No, it's very light. Well, because I'm on the phone, like I'm not doing face to face.
Yeah,
I don't
know
how you guys do. Some of them do. Like, listen, some of them do not know. Some of them,
I told you that because our names
is
and our
totally
voices
different.
No, it's your accent.
What's your call voice? Give me the
Oh yeah, code switch voice.
Jessica first.
Code switch.
Hello, this is Jessica Gaddy on recorded line, license number 1454515. How can I help you? But it sounds a little
You sound kind of black still.
Yeah, but like sometimes they don't know because I remember a lady was on the phone and she was like, "Yeah, I don't know what she said, but she was referring to black people. She's like, yeah, you know how they do. You know how they do." And I can't remember what she was talking about exactly. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. That's how they do. All right, anyway.
Same thing. I had a guy, like, again, the guy was trying to talk to me. He was like, well, you sound like a pretty white girl. And I said, oh, okay. Thank you.
With blonde hair, blue eyes.
Thanks.
I'm like, you have no idea.
Wow.
I had a situation when I was at Freedom. A guy called from Alabama. He was looking to get cash out because he needed some repairs on his property. And he was giving me this story about, all the stuff that needed to be done. And he was getting old. He's not going to be able to do it himself. And then he just broke into, he's like, yeah, because you can't get free labor anymore. And he starts going off about how black people were lazy and, he
but you want
saying
free
the
labor.
N-word and everything. And like, mind you, I was sitting behind my manager at the point, and he could hear me getting upset on the phone. Like I wasn't like, I was visibly upset. He couldn't, hear it or whatever. So he tapped into the call, and he's just sitting there like, he was chuckling because he could see my face. I was like,
I mean, it is kind of funny. I mean, it's serious, but it's also funny.
Because again, he just assumed that I was a white guy, and this was okay conversation to have with me and everything like that. And when I tell you, I got off the phone, I was like, I need a break.
Yup.
Yeah.
Because I can't be here right now.
Like, I need to cut somebody out. I got to release this.
That's kind of what
You didn't have any experiences at Freedom while you were there as a loan officer?
No, I feel like people say little stuff and with Trump or whatever, but I don't really nothing like super overt, but, it is what it is.
You were only there for like 2 seconds anyway.
I can't last it. I can't work for the man.
He sure can.
Work for the man. I want to know from you guys first, what would your advice be to somebody who was thinking about getting into the mortgage industry, either on the call center side or the outside sales person side?
My opinion might be a little biased. I did try the
Be
outside
biased.
sales for like 2 seconds, and it wasn't for me because all
Why?
I know was call center environment.
Why?
It was too much of a grind. Like, I'm used to being fed leads. I don't have to go hunting and all of that.
Honesty is key here. Thank you.
Right. And that was
Yeah.
too much. It was too
Right.
much. I was going out, and you're like putting all this work in. I'm talking
Absolutely.
to realtors. I'm calling people. I get people. They don't qualify. Like, you're frustrated. So I'm just like, I need to make a living. It just wasn't for me.
It's not consistent.
It's definitely a different
Yeah.
grind because I know that being a realtor now,
It wasn't for
you
me.
know, obviously it's a different beast. And I'm like, whew, this is a lot.
I enjoyed the freedom of it. I
Yeah.
liked going to like open houses. I enjoyed that, but actually getting the business, that was so hard.
Gotta stay
There's
on that.
no instant gratification in any 100% commission like you. And the issue that, like, so for starting real estate agents, I always say is like, be ready to not make any money for 6 to 12 months. Like, you're just not going to make any money. Like, it takes a long time to build up your network and pipeline, and you have to be financially able to sustain that, and you got to be able to just like deal with not getting instant gratification.
Set that expectation though. So
Yeah.
if you set that expectation, I know what to expect. Don't
Right.
tell me
Right,
you're going to be
that's-
making
Oh, so
money.
they never did that.
Yeah,
Right.
so-
Yeah, no, they didn't.
So
set
don't
that
listen to these
expectation
people
with
telling you they're here and like $100,000
Right,
a year.
no. They did not set that expectation.
Not happening. Like I'm being an outside guy. It's still. I mean, it's a grind every day. I mean, you've got to always be looking for realtor partners and clients, and following up. If you don't have a full team and it's just you and yourself, like she said, it's a daily grind. It's something that you have to work at constantly.
What's been the most productive activity for you to generate business?
I would say most productive between Facebook advertisements and when I was hosting first-time homebuyer seminars.
How are you promoting the seminars on Facebook?
on Facebook, Facebook, social media, word of mouth, and through getting the realtors that I had, because once you starting out as a outside officer, you have to build up your network of realtors that you're close with that are going to refer you business or that are going to want to in some way, shape, or form do business with you, whether it's they need a question answered or they're going to send you all their shit leads because they're A1 guy, they're content sending their stuff to him. So hey, see what you can do with this. Is what it is. So getting into that space again, telling them, hey, I've got a first-time homebuyer seminar that's going to be able to tell your borrowers that don't qualify how they can qualify. It's going to show them, the financial literacy side of things, what their credit score needs to be, how they can improve their credit score. Those are the things that worked the most. I used to go to, real estate offices like every day and, hey, here's my
That
card,
shit's
here's
dead.
a box of donuts. And,
That shit is dead.
These are, and any of your agents around, your office manager around, I stopped doing that. I mean, not so much that I didn't like doing the work or whatever. I didn't like mind going
The
in.
results.
The results weren't there. Most of the time you were greeted with a office manager that was like, "Okay, we'll hand your cards over. Thanks for the donuts. Can you bring coffee next time too?" But yeah, it's definitely again
What kind of Facebook ads were you running?
just more
Just
so.
a picture? What specifically?
So specifically, it would more so just be a picture with. What if it was an event one, it'd be with the event, and it would just have a listing of everything that you would get from the seminar and everything like that. The ones that I run now, they're just pretty much program driven. FHA 3% down, VA 0% down, USD.
Are you having an issue because they changed the targeting on Facebook on the real estate related leads where you can't even micro target anymore?
It's very different to where you have to almost broaden your scope as far as
Who you're hitting.
and everything like that. Like you can't just centralizing on a certain area because they've changed the
Yeah, that hurt my feelings, man. So if you guys don't know, basically Facebook for real estate and political ads added all these restrictions. And before, you used to be able to target specifically like certain income ranges or certain interests. And it was very effective when I was running them because you could hit your audience, the people that you would know that mess with you. And now you had to do it generically.
I got a question for Drew. So right now, everybody's working from home. Like, would you go back to that call center environment, or you like that grind?
Ooh, good question.
Being an outside sales.
So it's 50-50. Would I go back to the call center environment?
Because you're working from home, so you don't have to deal with any of those people.
Do you have kids or anything first?
No.
So this is important, right?
Okay.
Stability is
Good question.
important.
No kids. My mom lives with me. She's elderly. She doesn't work anymore or anything like that. So I like the grind aspect of it. I like being able to help people on a personal level. I like being able to have Zoom calls with people that, Zoom calls now because, COVID and everything. But I like the outside aspect. I don't like the being tied to a desk and having, this is my schedule, and somebody looking over my shoulder saying, I don't think I could go back to that type of environment because it's not how I operate. My company that I work for now, I was telling Jess, they pretty much leave me alone. Right. I don't bother them; they don't bother me. If I'm putting out numbers, they're happy.
That's how me and Jess work.
Yeah,
nobody bothering us. Yeah, I'm just bothering Jess.
Exactly. They don't play with me. They don't.
Processing.
Got Ryan. That's it.
Yeah, processing and underwriting are phenomenal. Right. So it would be hard. It would take a lot of compensation to go back to a structure like that.
What's the number?
Look.
What's the number for your freedom?
Right. Yeah. How much are you selling your soul
pun intended.
for?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'd have to have like a base of like 100 or something like that, to say, hey, I'm going to be able to tell you what to do.
A base of 100, you said?
A base of 100.
Okay.
So for somebody to say, I'm going to tell you what to do, because I know I can flux that on my own.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to tell me what to do, I need you to be able to provide what I can provide for
I know.
myself.
I'm just thinking about the adherence schedule when you can use the bathroom.
Yeah.
You take a lunch.
When
It's just crazy.
Listen,
seriously, we had a schedule broken down to
when you
were working from home.
Bro, we still had an adherence schedule when I was working from home. Ooh. And if I wasn't available when I was supposed to be, somebody's IMing me. What are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
They had just started that at Freedom when I
quit
left.
like 2 weeks after that.
It was
I'm like, kid.
Yeah, they had the time schedules when you can take your lunch.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So you telling me if I have to pee when I'm supposed to be available, I can't?
Mm-hmm.
In my house.
In my house.
Yeah, no, that's off.
Yeah.
That's what you're dealing with, too?
No, that's why I was shocked. Like, no.
You don't have an adherence schedule?
No. It's there, but they were pretty much just like, it's everything's tentative to your manager. Okay. If I got to use the bathroom, use the bathroom. Once I'm hit my numbers, if my goal is 5 for the day, I get 5 for the day. I can do what the hell I want.
Drew, you were off the phone for 40 minutes. Well, I was dropping the deuce if you didn't know.
Listen, exactly.
No, I have not gotten that. And
yeah.
Did you get your 5 for the day?
Yes, yeah, because I hit my goals.
But even though, because they want you to get more. Oh wait, okay, we got 5 out of you. Let's get 10. Let's get 15.
Nah, I haven't gotten that yet.
Okay, but you know it's coming. You know them.
Mm-hmm. I got a question. So, since we're talking about all this information and breaking cycles and stuff, for the people that don't know about mortgages, what are some of the do's and don'ts about mortgages? And if I'm thinking about buying a house, what are things that I should do and not do?
Save your money. The biggest disqualifier that I've seen is people not having enough funds for down payments.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I feel like that's some black people stuff.
It is.
True, but that's what it is.
But I mean, I've encountered it with white people too, but more so again with black people. A lot of people come to the table.
They don't have 3.5%.
They don't have 3.5%.
So not even the credit, it's the money.
It's the money.
What?
Right, I would have thought it was the credit.
They got COVID checks.
Got COVID checks.
The stimulus check.
The stimulus check is half your down payment. Almost.
You know they done spent that up the first day. That stimulus check was going a long time ago.
Credit I can deal with. Credit, I can finagle. If you don't have any money saved up, you can't buy a house. There's
people call you with no money.
There's people that I'm dealing with right now. Well, I heard I can do 0% down. You still got closing costs. All right, well, I've got $5,000. That's great. We might be able to get you the rest of the way, but we've got to get you into a certain program. You're going to have restrictions on this, like the New Jersey state program. If you use that grant, you can't sell your house for 5 years. So, well, I don't want to do that.
Well, you can sell. You got to pay the money back.
You got to pay the money back. So a lot of people don't want to, do and delve into that. So the biggest thing is save your money. Make sure you have enough trade lines on your credit report to make sure that you're going to qualify for the mortgage. Because whenever you apply for a mortgage, the underwriters and everything are going to look to see, if you have actively reporting trade lines. You can do non-traditional credit. So
what's a trade line?
A trade line is like a credit card that's going to show in your credit report, or a card note, or an installment loan. As far as maybe you bought furniture from somebody, those are all trade lines. So,
let me jump in real quick too about so in a real estate transaction, we all know this, but for people listening, you have the down payment. FHA is 3.5% down, USDA 0% down, VA 0% down. But you have closing costs. So on a $200,000 house, it might be like $7,000 for closing costs in New Jersey because our taxes are high, and you got escrow. The issue is that right now, because the market's so competitive, it's hard to get the seller to pay the closing costs. So before, and if you Google this information, they're going to say, just have them negotiate for the seller to pay closing costs. But that's not happening a lot right now because people are, if a buyer doesn't have to have you pay closing costs as a seller, they're going to take the other person's offer. Mm-hmm. So before, my advice was, don't worry about it. You can have the seller pay the closing costs. Now that shit is dead. Yeah.
Dead in the ground.
I wouldn't assume that. You're going to have to way bid over the value of the property, and then you're going to have appraisal problems. So that's my...
That's 100% spot on. I think the deal when I was working on with you with Sherelle and them, it was the same situation. I was just telling them, like, listen, just get some more money because the market right now, if somebody's going to offer me $20,000 over asking, why am I going to give you $7,000 for closing costs when I can make more money off the deal?
Because the house won't appraise. You're at risk of their appraisal not coming in too. So if you're going over the asking price, and then you're asking for money back, you're not going to get that whole 20, and then it's going to come back, and you're going to end up having to pay it because you have to renegotiate it. Mm-hmm. So this is the thing. Like, this is where people get lost is when they Google information or they don't have like someone to actually talk to about this. The information changes depending on the circumstances, right? So, because stuff I was saying before, if they listen to that, is wrong now. Right, and they'll be like, Ryan, I don't know what he's talking about. But I'm like, the situation
market is changing, right? That's what it is.
Because before it was nothing to get your closing costs covered. Even if you went above the list price and then had them cover, like, if you need $7,000 for the closing costs, you could add that to the price and boom, now, you only need your 3.5% down payment. Mm-hmm. It's not feasible right now. Like,
in a multiple offer
you're never
situation.
Going to get that offer accepted. So things change.
Right. I would definitely, again, if you've got your own money, you don't got to worry about it, because then you're not worried about, again, the concession or the lender giving you credit,
let's talk about
all over the place.
I'm hyped.
I love it.
I know.
Ryan is spilling the wine.
I have to show houses later.
I know you said that already. At 5
Don't
o'clock.
fall asleep. Don't fall asleep.
Where you got to show houses at? In this area?
Everywhere. I'm showing like 10 houses. It's going to be
it's the same person that got you riding around all over the place?
No. I love all my clients.
Shout out to Ryan Got the Bread.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Wait, what is it?
You done messed it up.
Yo, everybody messes up the drops on my thing. I want to talk about, I've had mad questions about refinances, and because I haven't been a loan officer for a while, and the situation is changing, COVID, like underwriting requirements are different, and I don't know what the refinances look like. What's your advice for someone who's owned their house for a couple of years and hears that the rates are low?
Yes, Tiffany. I see you.
Definitely reach out to your lender. See what they can offer you. I know Freedom, that's their bread and butter is to refinance. Mm-hmm.
But should they refinance? Like, what's a good time to refinance, and maybe what's a time where maybe they shouldn't? I know Freedom Mortgage doesn't teach you to tell people they shouldn't because they want to do all the deals.
There's always a good time to refinance.
Right. I mean, look at the costs. What are they? Are the costs going to? How long are you going to recoup the costs? That's first and foremost. You should find out.
How much normally would if I have a FHA loan, and say I have like 4.25%. Okay. How much would it cost to refinance? On general, say a $200,000 loan, like average, like it's different all the time. Blah blah blah.
It does. Stay. I'm gonna say average. I mean, when did you purchase the thing with FHA though? If you refinance within the first 3 years, then you get that rebate from your MI.
So explain that to people that don't know.
Okay, so if you have an FHA loan, you're probably paying at 3.5% down because you didn't have the funds to pay the rest. So they're gonna add mortgage insurance to the loan. Pretty much, if you default at any time, they're gonna get their money back. So that's the safety net with the FHA loan. But to you have to pay that extra out of pocket every single month. And that's for the life of the loan. People think that they can do it,
Right. I was going to say, talk about how do you get rid of that?
Right, you can't.
So what would be their option if they were like, okay, I'm done with this MI, but I know I have equity in my property. What are they doing at that point?
Refinance to a conventional loan. That's your only option. I mean, the MI is going to go down every month the longer you have it, but you will have it for the life of the loan.
Unless you refinance.
Exactly.
Or if you put 10% down when you purchase.
Which then you should just do a conventional one.
Right.
Well, some people can't. Some people can't. So like people that that purchase, they have a 580 credit score, they put 10%
but they have
down.
the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This industry is very custom, as you can hear from this conversation. It's extremely
Everybody's
custom.
different.
So
yeah.
that speaks to something. Like people want to Google stuff and think they know something.
Not general.
In mortgages,
Google.
there's no common sense, and everything is very specific. So you really need a person to tell you. And the thing is, you need an agent that you trust.
Right.
That's so important to have somebody that's gonna tell you the best situation possible.
Right. Don't
Mm-hmm.
call your friend, your best friend, your
Your cousin,
parents.
your auntie, because they don't know
They
anything.
don't. Their experience
know
could be
anything.
completely and totally wrong.
Correct.
Call a professional.
And the fact if they had a bad experience with somebody else,
it's just gonna pass down to you.
yes.
Girl, they supposed to pay your closing costs.
Right.
Don't refinance. They gonna steal your money. Don't refinance.
They gonna set you back all the way back to the 30-year
there's so
term.
many
Now you're gonna be
expensive-
paying extra time.
No.
All of that.
No, right.
All
As
of
I
that.
say, weigh out the cost. 3 years in, if you're 3 years into your FHA loan, you're going to get a huge MI refund. Okay?
Right.
You're going to get that money back. It's not going to be as much as you put down.
And most people
thousands of
actually
dollars.
end up selling their first home. You're not even going to be here.
Exactly. Or keep it.
Whatever.
property. Right.
So, it's crazy.
But yeah.
Consult a loan officer.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
Consult a loan officer. But I would say if you're at a 4.25 right now in this industry, you definitely need to look into exploring refinance options. Like rates, I mean, I hate putting rates out there as people be stuck on rates. Oh, I heard a 2%.
Yeah.
All right, you can see hella cost. But like average is like 2.75. Rates
Yeah.
are really, really good.
You can get
Anything better than
2.75 on a
4.25.
30-year.
Yes.
I'm about to refinance all my mortgages.
Yes.
2.75. So I mean, even with the closing
I got
costs.
one in the fours.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
No, because when you do the rehab loans, the rate's higher.
Oh, okay. Okay, what else are we at?
Is that true?
Oh, no.
I feel like it has been true. All right.
Hopefully it is because you just said it, so all right. We're going to go with
She
it.
can refinance it.
I got the experts here. That's why I'm asking.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do the cost.
Huh?
How does someone find a good loan officer?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, what is the best way to find a loan officer that you can actually ask honest questions to, that is actually going to give you good advice, even if it doesn't benefit them?
My number is 60.
I was going to say with Drew, because, with call center, we just get what we get.
yeah.
But, with Drew, since
No,
you
yeah.
doing the grind.
And people that have dealt with me in the past will tell me, friends, family, I don't care if I can't give you the best deal and it's not in your best interest, I'm going to tell you. If you give me a loan estimate and somebody tells me, oh, well, they're paying for my closing costs and they're giving me the same rate, and if I can't match it, go with them.
Correct.
I'm not going to cook. Like I said before, I'm not going to cook you up and eat you. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help people in general.
Well, how do
better the
people-
situations.
What's a good way to find somebody that has that? What's some good questions to ask? What's some good questions to ask them? What should I want to buy a house or I want to refinance. How should I go about doing that? Because, say I don't know anybody. What's the best thing to do?
I think ask those questions just as plainly as that. Ask open-ended questions so they'll get to talking. You're going to know if they know what they're talking about or not. If they start stuttering, well, if you did. All right.
Or they give you the salesy answers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're
the
going to
real-
know. So ask those open-ended questions and see what they say.
Yeah, I think that's good. If they're trying to sell you, then they got to go. Actually, sorry, Tiff, but the call centers. Don't talk to the call center people. I'm sorry.
Not all of us are bad. We're not all
I'm gonna have to
bad.
defend call center just because
Right.
those are my roots.
Right.
You know,
Because
so
I would
I'm gonna
tell
have
you
to
the truth.
defend it.
As I listen, I
Listen, all the
screen
time.
before I make
Yeah.
a call, I screen and I'm like, all right, listen, they're
Off the rip. I'm
Here-
not even.
they're
wasting
only
my time.
saving like $50 a month, but their
But are
MI is like $6,000. They're not gonna take this
Yeah.
deal. This is not a great deal. The recoup time is well over 3 years. Don't do it.
Here's why I'm jaded about the call center, because when I was at Freedom Mortgage,
All right, come on.
they first of all, you would get ranked on how many credit pulls you did.
Oh, that was your campaign.
So
I'm sorry, that wasn't mine.
I could tell.
either.
I could tell that the person, it wouldn't make sense for them based off of what they told me, but they created an incentive because if you fall below certain metrics, that you'd get in trouble if you don't pull enough credit.
Just for the people that don't know what you did at Freedom, what department and campaign were you on that called for you to have?
People
to
don't know what that means, so basically,
I
I
mean,
did,
but
I
like,
did
kind of
loan-
explain to us
I
because
did-
me and
okay.
Tiffany have different campaigns.
So I did loans that were not with Freedom Mortgage already, because what
Right.
Freedom Mortgage does is refinance loans that they already have.
Right.
What I did was find new business for them, which was called acquisitions. Because if a person out there in the world has a mortgage at 4.5% and the market rate of rents is 3.5%, or the market rate of interest is at 3.5%, if Freedom Mortgage can refinance that loan and bring it into their portfolio, even at 3.5%, which is less money, now Freedom Mortgage is making that 3.5% versus whatever company had that mortgage. Right. So they would employ us to find those people and have them refinance with us. So that's what I did, and so that department was different than some other people's departments. But all I'm saying is that they created bad incentives, and I think that call center is garbage.
Oh my God! Listen, I cannot even kick them in the back too much. I mean, we definitely have our feelings about them.
Yep.
I have not made as much money since then.
Hello.
Period.
Most money ever made.
Period.
I know, but that's,
And the market
that's
at
the
that
problem.
time,
Crazy money, like-
the market at that time was trash.
Right.
It wasn't even all that good when
Right,
we
so-
actually became commission.
So it's great right now. Yeah, it's a great time.
I know
I
it's
mean,
great
call
for
center.
the people doing the loans, but is it great for the clients?
It's always great for the clients.
Absolutely.
You're paying less money. Over like the loan with an
No,
interest.
but it
What you
really
mean?
is. Like I see people, and with like I'm looking at these loans, and it like boggles me. There's people at like 4.5%, just like you said, 5%, and we're saving you like over $200 a month, keeping your term where it is, and taking you back. And I'm like,
Yeah, so that's
the
important to
benefit
talk
is
about.
there, but people are scared.
You can refinance your loan. Is it only in the portfolio that you can do that, where say you have 25 years left, you can keep it at 25 years?
They were doing it for acquisition too,
And
right?
Yeah,
just-
no, I think acquisition.
and just do rate and term. So you could actually rate and term, basically that's all you're changing is the rate and the term. So
Right.
if you're at 4.5%, you can go to 3.5%, and you don't lose the time that you've already paid into the mortgage.
Right. Now, I think that differs from lender to lender. I don't know if
Yeah,
every
not every lender does.
Absolutely.
We have to get approvals for it. Like they'll allow us. Like I've done a ton of deals that they'll let me keep the term the same, but they require our approval.
Okay. So even outside salespeople, so independent companies can do that. So
Yeah,
that's
because the last
interesting.
company I was working for did not allow that. So
Really?
They did
Yeah,
not.
so-
I told you it was super hard sales with them. The closing costs were
That's why they
ridiculous.
closed 6 months.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So for you guys out there, like if you are thinking about refinancing, the company matters. I used to say it didn't matter, but there's a big, when all this uncertainty has hit, it has created a divide between different companies. Because normally, like when everything's stable, everyone has the same rates, everyone has the same closing costs, everybody has all the same stuff. But because of all the stuff happening in the market, the companies are quite a bit different than how they normally would be. If you talk to Wells Fargo, if you talk to Freedom Mortgage, if you talk to whatever company, usually they're offering the same stuff. But apparently, especially with COVID, a lot of the risk profiles have changed and everything.
Like the broker I work for, we have the options of what investor to sell, the loan to and everything like that. So, between Huntington, Chase, Wells Fargo, Mr. Cooper,
Mr. Cooper, I hate that name.
when you go to, run rates and, we use Optimal Blue, you see the difference in the rates between the companies. It's like, all right, well, our signature product is lower than ours because we're selling directly to Fannie and Freddie and Ginnie Mae and everything like that.
So there's a difference.
So it's a wide range of difference, and it's because the different companies have different loan level pricing adjustments.
How much a difference are you seeing on average?
Ooh, from what our base rate is to, I'll say our highest is about 3/4.
Okay.
You know, so I mean that's a decent swing on a $400,000 loan. Like, you know, that's a lot. You know,
It is, yeah.
good amount of
So
money.
I mean, you know, a whole percentage point is massive. You know, so that is pretty significant.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at you.
You're laughing at me?
Yes.
We got the drink champs over
Listen,
there.
no, that's
Drink
you.
champs
He like he
podcast.
put the cup out. He done the bottle. Like,
Just see when he took the bottle up, he said, "It's gone."
Hey,
Where'd it
we
go?
killed the, I can't believe it.
I need you to drink all the time.
This
I
is
like
about
this,
to be the new
Ryan.
thing. We're about to drink every
What is
podcast.
that?
Exactly, I'm telling you.
Listen, I'm bringing tequila next time.
Yes.
Hey, that's what it is.
And
It's
some
like-
bourbon.
Here all day
time.
of some tequila. Stop.
Like, yeah, what y'all talking about?
Right.
If the mortgage is
Right.
I just love it.
No, this the angry start coming out. You start talking all the bad stuff about it.
Right.
No.
So,
Bought a house before closing.
how's COVID affected you guys with mortgages first? We'll go with. Like, has the industry changed?
Well,
Like,
I
'cause don't
just
know.
jumped
with
back
that.
in.
Yes.
Is it
like
different?
last month.
Yeah. So did we tell the people? So you were at Freedom and now you're back.
Yeah, I was at Freedom. Now I'm back. After.
What made you jump back in? Because I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
when we actually talked about it a year or so ago, we both jumped out of the business and we said, "Bro, there's no way."
Why did you get out of the
We're
business?
not going. We're never going back to the business.
I was
so.
so angry.
Why?
What
Why?
made you jump
Why?
back in?
Wait, why were you angry first?
Okay, why were you angry? Yeah,
sorry.
and why did you? Right, the wine.
Like when I left, like probably 6 months before I left, I wasn't even making any commission anymore
Why?
because the industry had
Dried
changed.
up.
'Cause the
Like
rates.
the rates
Market,
were
yeah.
high. At that time, we were doing cash out. That was a cash cow. Cash
Our
out.
average
cash
was like
out.
a 4.75 at that time when we got out.
What's that?
4.5 or something. It was
Five.
It was
I
high.
was selling like 6%
High.
cash out.
So the rate
Yeah.
on a cash out's
It wasn't a
higher
cash out. I think it
than
was like a rate in
normal
term. We were
rate.
at like a 4.75.
Oh.
Yeah, that was non-existent. Everybody's rate was
Yeah.
it was too high.
Okay.
People's rates were already in like
Yeah.
the threes.
So we only could
Some
do
people had
cash out.
two, so they couldn't. There was no rate and term anymore. Pretty
Yeah.
much, that was non-existent.
Right.
Okay.
So I wasn't making any commission. And my base, I mean, back then it was like 35K. I'm living off 35K for 6 months. That's nothing.
So wait, were you
compared to what I
still
was
on that
making.
campaign? What campaign were you on?
That's the
you were
thing.
selling everything.
Yes, at that
Okay.
point, at
Okay.
first I was doing strictly refinances, so strictly rate and term, streamline, easy, cake, slam dunk.
Right.
It's a 5-minute call, and then they were like, "All right, we need to transition y'all into full doc." So we did the full doc and then the cash out, all of that.
What's a full doc loan?
Full doc would be like a conventional loan, or FHA.
Or if
It
like
is
you're
like-
taking someone off the loan.
right,
whenever
that
you
would be a
gotta,
full.
like,
So you have to income qualify,
Qualify,
credit
credit
qualify.
qualify.
That's a
You
full
need an
doc.
appraisal.
So talk about that. So rate and term, which is just like you're changing your interest
Right,
rate.
streamline. You
You don't-
don't. There's no appraisal. There's no income qualifications. No credit qualification.
So it's
At
easy.
my company, other companies there may be different. We have Freedom. You don't have any of that stuff.
And unfortunately, conventional does not have a streamlined program at this time.
No.
It's
Wait,
just
so if
straight
you have a
W loans.
conventional loan, you have to requalify every time?
Yes,
Yes.
full doc.
That's an important thing for people to know.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I wasn't making any money, so I left. I was like turned off. The expectations in the company were ridiculous. Like threats. It was like legit threats if your performance wasn't there. So I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I
People
was
were going out on leave of
stressed out.
absence because they were getting
Yes.
sick.
I was
It got bad.
stressed. I was so
got bad.
stressed.
Yeah.
But I went back
What's
to
stressful about the job?
what? In a call center environment, an actual call center environment, you have managers every there. They're stressed because upper management is making them stressed, and they're bringing that down on you. So you want to go home at 6 o'clock? No, you didn't hit your app goals. They're stressing.
Oh,
the
they
app-
would make you try to stay.
Yeah,
Until you
or come
actually
in
go on
on
that.
Sundays, on the weekends when you don't work.
Right.
Like I'm already here all the time under this, and you feel it. You feel energy. The energy is just. It was bad. It was really, really bad when I left.
So even at that point, to just even go home, I'm just writing Yes.
Yes.
Like I know this person doesn't qualify.
And I'm not making any money. 'Cause
Correct.
I'm
It's
just
just a waste
throwing
of
stuff
time.
because you want apps. You guys are looking at app numbers and not
See,
looking
this
at
is why call center is
quality.
garbage because Jess is writing applications for loans that aren't going to
This
qualify.
is when the industry is bad. It's a
where I dipped. I said,
possibility.
bye.
It's a possibility.
I got a job offer right after that. I'm like,
Right.
I'm out of here.
So yeah, I left. But
Yeah.
why I went back is because rates are low and this is a prime time to make money. Now it happens. This industry is very cyclical. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. So when you're in a up, you cash in because you can make a lot of money right now, and that's why I went back. I want to get into real estate. I want to buy houses and properties. I'm trying to be like Ryan when I grow up.
Facts.
You don't want to be
Because
like,
Brian got the bread.
Why his face?
I'm trying to be like Ryan when I grow up, have multiple properties and whatnot, and I need the bankroll. This is going to provide me the bankroll I need. I can make 20. That's nothing. People in my company are making like 30K.
are you guys
commission.
month.
working remotely permanently? Or do you,
It's up in the air, but
Because
that's what it's looking
I have
like.
this dream where I saw that they were doing work visas from Barbados for a year. And like that's all I want to do now is figure out a way to
Work in Barbados.
work
That's
in
it.
Barbados.
That's what.
Interesting.
Hey,
So
you
anybody
figure it out.
Yeah, right. Let's
know.
talk. Anybody that works remotely, I think the whole world might change because of that.
Absolutely, it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going back.
I will tell you. Now, I've been remote since I started it as an outside officer.
Yeah, 'cause you can do
I've
whatever.
been home, work
Right.
from wherever.
Oh man, maybe I should just switch to mortgage. No,
But
Drink your wine.
you really got to have some self-discipline to make sure you get your behind up every morning and
facts.
get to it.
yeah.
Like,
Talk about that because you work. Okay, so just in case people don't know, when you work for the call center, you get a base salary, probably $35,000, even if you don't, you're a pumpkin and don't do anything.
Right.
If you're outside sales, do they have a base for you?
you don't eat.
You don't. You
You
get
don't eat.
zero money unless you
don't
do
work, you don't
business.
It goes the grind. Yeah. Period.
So people need to know that.
Yeah, you gotta get up in the morning. You gotta have that. I really got to find some leads today. I gotta go out and find some people to help today, and make sure you're on it.
Yeah, that's why like it's hard. I don't like when people ask from advice from me because I'm a weird person and like.
Why are you weird,
I'm
Ryan?
self-motivated. Like, yo, when we're talking about credit and all that and generational curses, I knew about credit when I was 18. Like, I was trying to build my credit, and no one told me about this really. Like, I'm just like,
what's up.
it was just something I was into. Like, I don't know, it was weird.
At 18.
So, like, when people ask me for
My first credit
advice,
card at
it's
18.
hard to
did?
tell them what to do.
It was like I was at the store.
You should get a credit card.
No,
at
but
18.
I like
Yeah,
I
let's talk about
didn't.
that.
just don't blow it.
Right, and I didn't because
Yeah,
I've
that's
always
good.
been great with money, so I
Yes.
have that knack. But I wasn't thinking about my credit. I was at American Eagle, and I was like, oh, 20% off. Let's do a credit card.
okay.
I said sure, so I took it and I had it.
And you used it.
Because back
I
then,
didn't run it up
was
though,
easy to
like
get.
because I had cash. Yeah, my parents installed in that cash is king.
Well, shout out to
Right.
your parents.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a credit
parents.
card, and that
Yeah.
absolutely helped my credit. Even
Cash
my
is
student
trash.
loans.
Cash is trash.
What is
Cash is trash.
I thought that was
I don't know. I gotta put
I looked at it.
I gotta put it back on. 'Cause I don't know what's
I got the drop.
Cash is trash.
That's what I was like, oh, you said that. No, but yeah, so that was my first credit card. And then my student loans helped my credit. My credit is amazing because
It's
of my student loans.
honestly,
it
you
sounds
are-
crazy, but it is.
My parents at that time, they couldn't even co-sign on a student loan. I don't even know how I made it through college because like I'm telling you, like credit was not important to them. They couldn't help me co-sign. I just had to grind it out and try to figure out how I'm pay for school.
right.
It was tough.
Same
It
thing.
was
My
tough.
parents' credit back then was bad.
Yeah.
So I was.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Most of the people that I get for credit repair, they got a credit card because they were on hard times and they kept getting all these offers in the mail. And I was
it's like,
like,
you know what? Let's go.
ooh, I can get $500 real quick. I need to pay for this. I
Absolutely,
need to
and
do
they
for
max it
this.
out.
They max it out and then they don't take care of it and then they got a collection. Like
Exactly.
Responsibility.
Kyle, what are your thoughts? I don't know. You usually jump in. Are we doing
I
good?
know.
What are we at?
Calvin chilling.
Oh, I am? I got to drink. I got to drink everything.
It's the wine. It's the wine.
Yeah, offices.
Yeah.
That's out.
Especially with all these companies out here to see the overhead that they can save.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's going to crash the freaking office real estate market.
Commercial space.
It's done.
Right.
Well, they just got to pivot. There's things to do.
No. But all this office space that exists in the world, we need 75% of it. So what happens to the other 25%? What do they do with it? The supply is up here and the demand is down here.
Rental
the price got to
properties.
come down.
Mm-hmm.
Rental property.
I think people are going to start converting them into
Rental
Condos
property.
or something?
not condos, podcast studios.
Oh, we doing that?
Event spaces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, events are dead right now.
Well, they coming back up slowly but surely. 20 people at a time. Yeah.
That's a great
Especially
real
y'all,
estate investment.
especially y'all pulling in mad money just being home.
Right.
From.
Or are they going back to the
I did a
Yeah.
good job? Yeah, that's what
Do
I'm trying
y'all
to
do y'all
go.
like pho?
Oh, don't start with the pho.
I love
Did you
pho.
guys-
Listen, I saw
Oh,
that.
you didn't see the pho
I
clip?
saw that.
I think
saw
everybody
it.
saw the
I saw
pho.
it
Who
just
don't like
now.
pho?
It's actually, excuse me,
I
it's
don't
pronounced
not like
pho. Just to be
I don't
technical.
know. It's pho.
It's pronounced
I'm a
pho.
barbarian. I'm not cultured, especially
He
with food.
said
No,
noodles with water with leaves.
But my
so.
experience was the exact same as Ryan's. I had somebody gas me up about pho, like, "Oh my gosh, it's so good! I'm gonna take you here. It's gonna be amazing." And I went to the restaurant. It was in Philly, and I was like, "Okay, this is cute."
Noodles and water.
Right, and I said, "Oh, this is it." Like, it was good, but I wasn't like, "This is not the best thing I ever had in my life." I felt the
Right.
exact same way.
I feel like
How is it good?
I feel like
It's good,
you
but
gotta
it's-
be at the right spot.
but it's not
One,
amazing.
because I've been to
That's
pho
what everybody's
places and
saying.
I've
You
been
gotta be
like,
at this. Yeah,
this
it's the
is
spot.
subpar.
Does it have flavor?
It's got flavor.
It
It's,
does
Where
have
is the
flavor.
flavor
It does
at?
You
have
went to
flavor.
one spot.
it's a
a
combination
bad
of the
spot.
things that you put in it, like the basil leaves and the jalapenos and the meats that you put into it, and
Some leaves.
From outside on the tree.
I have
Bro.
thyme that grows in the front of my yard. I can just grab that and put it in the water. There you go.
It's
Wow.
good. If you like soup and stuff, it's good, but it's not amazing in my opinion. And I'm
Thank
a
you.
foodie.
I know.
I am a foodie.
I know it's not.
Thank
Feeling,
you.
And you're inclined to try. You
It's
try everything.
fucking noodles.
I'm a foodie.
She tries everything.
I'm a foodie, and I didn't love it.
Okay, from a scale of 1 to 10. Because
It's a 6.
that's not. You trashed
It's just
it.
food.
You made it seem like it was like -2.
Why would you go out and buy it?
I mean,
Well, you didn't
it's
buy it, right?
cultural. It's a cultural thing.
It's an experience.
It's
Scale
cultural.
of 1 to 10.
Those
I would
are
What you want to
things
eat? You want to
where
eat some
not
chicken
being
fingers
good.
and fries? What you want to eat?
I'd rather eat chicken fingers and
Sure.
I don't eat meat.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, now for right now.
No, ever.
Oh, this is permanent for you?
wait, hey, let's zero in on this.
I don't eat meat.
At all?
Since
This
when?
is permanently. I thought this was just for like some time.
Last month, I think I've.
Oh,
not
he's
eaten-
brand new.
Wait, did
No,
you
it's easy. No, it's easy not to
He
eat
said he
meat.
doesn't
did
miss
you
it.
have
It's
pho with
brand.
meat
He
in
said
it?
a month. I could do a month
No.
not eating meat.
Then maybe
After
that's
that, I'm
what
like,
you're down
give me a
for.
steak.
But you say you don't feel any different?
I don't feel any different. It's not. I don't not eat meat for health reasons. I don't eat meat for the treatment of animals. Have you ever watched a video of?
I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to.
You should
No.
because
Nope.
watch that and then try to eat a chicken.
I want to eat my oxtails.
Watch them put
Right.
watch them put the chicken in the grinder where they just
I like
crush
fried
the
chicken.
chicken.
I love my
So I'm not
steak.
going to watch
I
a
love
video
my
of them
fish.
grinding the chicken up.
It's
Nope.
it's no good, and you don't need to look.
So
I
for
don't.
Thanksgiving, what you going to do?
I don't like turkey. I don't like it that much anyway, and I don't like meat with bone. Like so, this is why it's easy for me. This is why it's easy for me.
Definitely
Not,
should have brought tequila.
this is why it's easy for me to not eat meat because I've always not liked meat that resembled animals. Right, so like
What meat are you eating that resembles an animal?
a chicken
besides
wing
a
with a
fish?
bone. Anything with a bone resembles animal
So
because it
you
has
see
the
a
animal
chicken
bone.
leg or a chicken wing, and you think
And
of a
you
chicken?
think of a chicken.
Who else has this visual association with food?
Nobody.
I
That's
know.
why we're eating
You're
it.
eating a chicken. It's a chicken. It
And
was
it's
alive.
good.
Because
and
the
someone
bone-
chopped its
And
head
guess
off.
what? It's good.
The bone.
It's tasty. I couldn't imagine my life
But,
without
but
it.
here's the thing.
Period.
You can eat tasty things that did not get murdered.
List them.
Listen, they had to kill the plants.
Vegetables are
They had to kill
murdered.
the
List
plant,
them
put it in
all.
the
They
plate.
are
plants
living
are-
things. They're murdered. Vegetables are living things.
They're
They're
living
murdered.
things, but they don't have a nervous system like.
Absolutely. You've seen a tree? A tree has a nervous system. Everything else is a
That
nervous
is
system.
You ever
fact.
seen a plant
No,
when
they
don't
don't.
get sunlight? It'd be like, oh,
They don't have a nervous
Right.
system.
You're crazy. You think they don't feel?
So don't eat none of that.
Just because they can't make a noise doesn't mean they don't feel.
Sad today.
No, plants don't feel.
You're
And
crazy.
Look,
look.
would you eat a dog?
No, there's limits.
Why would you not eat a dog?
I'll
What's
put
the
some
difference
barbecue sauce on
between
a dog.
You know
I'll eat
what?
it.
You're right. I
Jess,
renege on that first.
You would eat a
question.
dog?
If I didn't know it was a dog.
You eat
I have
Chinese
three
food?
dogs at my
Do
house.
you eat Chinese food? You're eating dog. Period.
I'd be open to it. I'm an adventurous eater, so
So like,
somebody chopped your leg off.
do you
and
have
it's-
animals?
It looks good. What?
Do you have any pets? Do you have any pets? What?
She said she'll eat your leg.
I
if
said
she had to.
I'm an adventurous eater.
You would eat my leg.
they
She'll put some
they
sauce on there,
presented
some
it really
sriracha
good. I
sauce.
didn't know it was human. Oh, that looks really good. I'll
All
try
right,
it.
you know,
We would get along with my brother. My brother,
Oh, my
he
God.
took me to this
an adventurous
hot
eater.
pot place in freaking Cherry Hill, and he ate pig brain.
See.
And I was sitting there looking at him. It was,
Did he know it was pig brain?
I'm offended.
Okay, see, no, I don't want to
I'm
know what it
offended.
is.
I'm
Just
offended
serve
by
it to
that.
me.
The brain?
Don't tell me what it is.
He's a real foodie type too. He tries all kinds
taste
of
different
Look.
than like muscle.
Here's the thing, though. Like, animals are animals. If you're gonna freaking murder them, you're murdering animals. Just be
No,
okay
I don't have
with
a
that.
pet, by the way. I don't have a pet.
I know you. You don't like dogs?
I love
Well, he has
dogs.
3 dogs.
So you would take my dog and just kill him?
Oh, them bad
No.
dogs. The
What?
dogs.
Why?
First of all, the dogs that he has, absolutely. I would go ahead and chop him. What's the one that was hopping on me and jumping on me? Which one was that?
Blue jumped on you
Blue,
one time.
the one that scared the crap out of me.
That's my boy.
He was nice to me the first time I met Blue. He was super nice. The
Jessica
second time,
Him
I don't know
jumping
what
on you
happened.
is nice.
Jessica doesn't.
That was not nice.
Jessica doesn't like
He
animals,
pushed,
though.
He pushed me. I'm like, he was like, I'm like, all right, Ryan, I'm leaving. All right, goodbye. I'm out of here.
That's my boy. You were on an island and you're starving.
No, I could.
He would absolutely eat Blue.
Yeah.
He would eat his own dog.
If I was starving on an island, I could eat meat. Yes. The difference is I don't have to now, and I don't have to kill animals because
They
it's
already
not.
did. I ain't killing
We
him.
have the resources
Thank you. It's already
available
done.
to not do it.
I respect the decision. Like I'm not.
I
knocking
don't.
you.
It's only
just
been a month. I don't
me
believe
as
that he
a
can hold on to this.
steak eater. Like I had a tomahawk
Could
this
you
week.
could
and I
you
was,
kill the cow?
No.
Could you slit its throat?
Could I slit the cow's throat?
No.
No. But what
Then I
I
don't
like,
think you should eat it. That's
No,
that's like look,
that's
if you
extreme.
like to go hunting and you kill a deer and you make deer jerky and all that stuff, I can respect that. But if you can't kill the animal yourself,
I'm not
you
doing
shouldn't
it.
do it.
I wouldn't like slit the.
presentation is
If,
like
if
on
that's
my
how they
plate,
kill the cow, I'd try.
They treat the animals so bad.
I tried another way. Like I've gone deer
They don't
hunting
treat them
before.
worse than
Like
black people, period.
Yo,
whoa,
that right there.
that is another
That
topic.
right there.
What you say?
People care more about
a pin in it.
animals
They
than
don't, they don't,
black
they don't treat
people.
them worse than black people.
I care
Save
about more.
the dog.
I care
Anybody
about
watch-
animals more than people.
Wait. Has anybody watched Woke on Hulu?
No.
Nobody's watched it? Oh,
You
I
ain't- oh, I'm
suggest
sorry.
watch Woke on Hulu.
It's good. Okay.
Watch
On my to-do list.
Woke
Okay.
on.
All right, so that is the Ryan Got the Bread podcast with Drew and Tiffany. I feel like we got a lot of good information from these expert loan officers.
Top
I
tier.
will try to post their information in the description box of if you're watching this on Spotify or on YouTube.
What
I'll
is
put
y'all
their
Instagram
information.
handles? Tiffany.
Oh, she got to look it up.
You don't know your Instagram?
I don't know mine either.
Mine
Really?
is the Vocal Mortgage Mogul on Instagram, and just Drew Thompson on Facebook.
Okay.
Boom.
What's
Drew
yours?
Thompson.
Look me up on Facebook, Tiff Tiffers.
Tiffers.
You got to change that to Tiffany Hyde. We professionals now. All right.
I don't want people to find me. So.
They should be able to find you now.
And
Period.
as always, I'm really interested in your guys' feedback. We are developing the show, trying to figure out who the audience is, what they like, what they don't like. So please comment, or you can hit me up privately if you're shy. And that's it. Ryan Got the Bread podcast. See y'all
We
later.
out of here.